Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 15 of the Sajin Photography Podcast. My name is Jason Teal, and today we're going to get things kicking off with something I actually don't think I've really done, and that's sort of a review or a suggestion, or, well, I'm not really sure what this is going to be, but we're going to be talking about a new venture side hustle thing that I sort of kicked off about maybe this time last year. I'm not quite sure when I started, but what it is stock photography. And before you roll your eyes and go on about how people are getting ripped off, just bear with me. This does have a link to Korea, and it is something that I think will benefit you if you put the time in. And what am I talking about? Well, I have recently become a brand ambassador for a company called Wirestock, which is a relatively new stock photography agency that has come about. And they're actually a lot better than I think the standard big name, like Getty and whatnot. And I have worked with Getty for many years, and I've made some sales here and there. But what I find is that it's kind of the old school. Like, you have to put the time into keyword and whatnot. And companies like Wirestock are a little bit more, I would say, forward thinking. That would be the word I would use. Forward thinking in the sense that they make things a lot easier for you, the photographer, to get your photos up on these agencies like Adobe and whatnot. So that's the key that we're talking about right now, is that I have become a brand ambassador for Wirestock. And what I'm going to talk about in this podcast is just, why should you care? Why a photographer in Korea would even bother with stock photography when the bulk of the sales are, like white guy in lab coats holding beaker. Well, believe it or not, there's a lot to do with the market that is shifting towards stuff from Korea, and a lot of agencies are looking for it. And Wirestock was one of the places that reached out to me before this whole brand ambassador thing, seeking content for Korea. And that is basically what we're going to talk about today. So again, why would anybody here in Korea care about getting into stock photography? Well, the biggest issue I had, especially over the last couple of years with the pandemic, was the fact that I had a deck of used up hard drives full of images from around Korea that really, outside of Instagram, are just taking up space. And I think that's what really sort of pushed me into the stock photography thing, was the fact that they're not doing anything for me. Yes, they're pretty pictures. Maybe somebody would want a picture from Gompo at sunrise or something like that. But the truth of the matter is that nobody really was buying a lot of this stuff. So, it's not that they were bad photos, but it was just the fact that, they were just taking up space on my hard drives. So getting into the stock photography, I sort of realized that, why not make these photos work for me? And the key point here is that with agencies like Getty or Adobe or Wirestock, you're not selling the rights to your photos. You're just kind of getting them out there on the market to have an ability to make some money. And I am going to be upfront right now. You're not going to make buttloads of money from stock photography unless you're really niched down. And this is something I recently read from Nicole S. Young from one of the ebooks I got from the 5-day deal. She makes a really good note about that. If you get really good shots of Korean barbecue, just beautiful setup shots, and you put them on these, sites, they're going to sell. Your cell phone shot from the Samgyeopsal Gogi night, probably not. Even just putting your camera, level with the table and getting the smoke coming off, maybe not. But the thing is that it's going to be out there, and it has the possibility to make at least some money at some point in time. And Wirestock is probably the easiest place to do so. And that's the main point that I'm going to push right now. Wirestock makes it easy for you to get your photos up into the Adobe stock sites and Getty and all these other places. Like, they really are a one-stop shop for stock photography. And I think that's kind of what I enjoy about working with Wirestock, is the fact that I can just upload a bunch of photos, and if they meet the standards, and those are very basic standards of having the photo in focus. If you're looking for like non-model-esque journalism kind of things, then there's no brands in the background and you've got the proper releases and whatnot. It's easy peasy. It's just boom, it's up there. And they have sort of sophisticated AI stuff that will scan the image and put the proper tags and titles and everything. Like, it's just taken care of. And what this means is that you can dump a bunch of photos from your computer or through their app on your phone, and it's just boom, it's up there. And their AI filters do all the rest, and you get like a nice little portfolio. And then I guess that's point number 2, is that I've got a website and whatnot, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to take photos from the website and then try and get them printed for people. And especially like when you have people that, aren't really looking for something artistic. They just want a photo easy enough to print off. Well, Wirestock has a portfolio system where you can just send them the link. They can purchase it and get a print. Boom, bada bing. That's the easiest way. And yeah, it's dirt cheap. I think some of them are, they're selling for like $5 or something like that. But again, this is where you can make the discretion. Like, if you want to do fine art, set up a SmugMug account and charge top dollar. That picture that I took of the cat we recently adopted, I'm going to pop it up there and maybe it'll get some sales. So use your judgment. But again, working with Wirestock and sort of kind of getting to know the company a little bit better, they are real people. So the people that have reached out to me, the CEO is very active on LinkedIn, things like that. You sort of get a feel that these people are really trying to run a decent business and also help the photographers. And I really appreciate sort of how this mechanism works, where it's making my job easier. I can just upload photos and they do make sales. Now, getting into point number 3 is that, if you use my link, I'll get, say, 10% out of everybody's sales. You're not giving me money. It's just I'm getting a percentage of the overall sales. You're still making your top dollar, but I'm getting a kickback. Now, if you send out your link, which everybody gets when they sign up for Wirestock, then you're going to get a percentage of the people that you get into Wirestock. And again, like, these little things help you make money. That is a lot better than just having a nice looking Instagram. And I think that's sort of the main point I want to talk about, is that as photographers, we can do sort of jobs and whatnot, and that makes us money. But afterwards, like in between those jobs, yeah, we take a lot of photos of our daily lives in Korea. Those photos can also make us money. And I know what you're thinking. Like, sometimes you're not going to get top dollar, but I think also having multiple sources of income, and this is something that kind of goes away from the photography aspect and just in general life. Now, this may come up as a visa issue, but they do pay through PayPal or wherever you want to sort of have it routed through. So it may not be a huge deal, as it's not necessarily paid directly into your Korean bank account. But don't quote me on that one. Check it out for yourself. But I find that it's fairly innocuous. And again, you're not going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars every month for it to become a huge issue at this moment in time. And if you are, then, well, pay your taxes, stop teaching, and become a digital nomad, because if you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, you don't need to teach English in Korea on an E2 visa. But that's just me. At any rate, the point being is that you have these photos that you put on Instagram for free. People see them and they'll hire you. But those photos can actually make you money. If people want to get a fine art piece, you still have the rights to that, okay? But the biggest issue I've had over the years is not people looking for fine art pieces. It's the ones that want to use the photo for a blog post or something like that, where they're just looking for something cheap, and half the time, they just want to slap your name on it or something like that. You can send them over to Wirestock. You have your portfolio link and just say like, hey, it's like $5, there you go. And you've got the chance to use it. At least that makes you something, rather than having to get quote unquote credit. They're not paying $250. They're getting charged a reasonable amount to use your photo. And this does add up. And that's the other key point, is that the sales do add up. And then the more you put on the Wirestock site, the more chances you have to make a little bit more money. Wrapping things up, I think that really what we need to look at here is just test it out and see if you like it. And again, I'm going to say, like, if you want to help support me, you can use my link, and I'll put that in the show notes. Take a look at it and let me know. If you want more information, come and talk to me, send me a message. But I really do think that as photographers, this is something that we can look into here, because Wirestock is looking for a lot more good quality Korean content. And again, the more you put out there, the more you're probably going to get back into it. So with that being said, again, I'm going to include my link for you to sign up in the show notes and check it out. Let me know. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to, just reach out and talk to me. I can probably get you the answers that you need. And with all of that, thank you very much. And I'm going to wrap things up here. It's a little bit shorter this week, but trust me, I've got some great episodes in the pipe following this one. Got another one coming out next week. It's going to be a doozy.